Welcome to my July essay, which is about my definition of circus. I want to start when I was in theater school, where my teachers were obsessed with neutrality, a relaxed body, standing straight, breathing evenly. The idea was that if we could free the instrument of tension or preconception, the unseen habits that shape our personalities, we'd be able to express something more essential, more real. I loved this idea. I've always struggled to appear sincere or natural in social settings, mostly because I have learned my social skills through conscious study instead of however most people learn social skills, osmosis, mimicry, innate powers, I don't know. When I am interested in something, I have to remember to look interested. I have to lean in, nod, maintain eye contact. When I'm bored or frustrated, I have to remember to send the subtle physical cues instead of just saying, like, I'm bored or I'm frustrated, which most people would think is rude. Theater school gave me a place where I was supposed to be this aware of my stance, my breath, my actions. I loved that. I was already good at it. The next bit I was not so good at. The next bit comes after you achieve a sort of neutral aware state. Then you have to let a character emerge from that state, or you have to put a character on like you put on a costume, or you just have to say the lines as yourself, or let the character spring from the collective unconsciousness or something. Every theater teacher has a different version of this magic trick, but what they all agree on is that from this clean slate of neutrality, something transcendent and authentic could emerge. This is around the time I started to lose interest in theater. The teachers who I liked best, ironically, a Russian clown and an ex-circus artist, were the ones who said the quiet part out loud. Acting is pretending. The job is to fool people, to deliver a story effectively, to master an art of make-believe. I don't mean to say that acting is easy or simple. I mean it's a craft with a specific goal. To create an illusion, to play pretend, to teach us how we're meant to act towards each other. That's what makes this famous Ian McKellen bit so funny. I have linked it in the essay, and you can go watch the video in the show notes if you want. He ends up saying, "How do I act so well? Well, you see, I pretend to be the person I am portraying in the movie or film. How do I know what to say? The words are written for me in the script. How do I know where to stand? Well, someone tells me." The contradiction here between what theater says it values, truth and authenticity, and what it actually rewards, good pretending, is something that some people love about it. The myth is that by striving for some sort of neutrality, you'll reveal some raw or vulnerable essence about yourself or other people. But there is no neutral stance. There is no moment or person unshaped by history, culture, and choice. You can't say something as if for the first time unless you're actually saying it for the first time. I do not love this pretend about pretending that exists in theater. I prefer forms that embrace what they are, and this may be the root of my interest in circus. When a performer is hanging by their heels from a trapeze or balancing on a single hand, the feat is not an illusion. There might be lighting, music, artifice, but the thing that makes your stomach drop is actually happening in the space in front of you. The relationship to an individual is different, too. The individual isn't revealed through character or through neutrality or through fiction or script. The individual is performing the trick, is revealed through the trick. It's like you are what you do, but to the nth degree. In American circus, we signal individuality through novelty, a unique costume, a bright hair color, a signature move. These are the markers, the signals of a distinct persona. The goal is to stand out. In more traditional forms like Chinese or Russian circus, individuality shows up differently. It's not claimed by the performer, it's revealed inevitably. You see a performer inside a tightly synchronized ensemble doing the same motions as everyone else, but the perfection of imitation isn't possible. The more precise the group becomes, the more you notice the slight variations, the irreducible humanness of the individuals involved. Take this Chinese chair balancing act. If you're listening, you can go to the show notes to watch it. Go watch it real quick. Just click the link and watch the YouTube. It's a chair balancing act that's an allegory or a metaphor about interdependence and precision and total trust. Every one of the performers, every individual is critical, but the meaning, both of the act and in the trick, is in what they can accomplish together. The individuality isn't denied, it's embedded in the cooperation. The next clip is American news clip about the Moscow Circus School. So the narration is fairly propagandistic, but listen to how every performer's accomplishment is framed not as a personal triumph, but as proof of the greatness of the Moscow Circus and its training. It's talent plus institution. It's individual plus the state, not the talent alone. Compare that to this early American circus or variety artist, where every skill that's being performed exists in total isolation, both from the other skills and from any other performer. The ingenuity is in the scope and variety of the skills. The individual is the show. Look at this one man. Look at all the things he can do. The difference in this framing, the individual versus the collective, the independent versus the interdependent, is cultural, but it also shapes how we understand what circus is. Throughout my career, I've been asked, sometimes by funders or policymakers, to define circus, to justify the need for funding or arts curation specific to circus. I know it when I see it, doesn't cut it for this definition. Eventually, I landed on this. Circus is a word that we use, like theater or dance, to set an audience's expectations, to tell them in advance what kind of experience this might be, and whether or not that experience is intended for them. The difference between theater, dance, and circus isn't really in the content, it's in that promise. That is why I've always been frustrated by the lack of circus critics or reviewers. Forget the promotional side of critique or review for a moment. What critics should do is help audiences understand the history and the context of what they're watching, to increase the audience's cultural literacy, deepen their appreciation, and hold artists to the same standard. Imagine sending a dance critic to review, say, Othello at Shakespeare in the Park. A dance critic might say, "Oh, this unusual piece uses quite a bit of language, and the pedestrian movement style does a lot of work carrying a plot." Imagine if you sent a theater critic to a modern dance like Alvin Ailey performance. The actors, they're quite live, but the total elimination of a script, while bold, leaves the audience unsure of how to interpret the story. This is how most critics sound at best when they write about circus. It leaves the impression that circus has no history, no lineage, only spectacle, only unending in-the-moment spectacle. That circus is static in this way, that it only ever tries to amaze the audience, and that it succeeds at this goal every time. The deeper point here is this. There is no neutral stance, either for a performer or for an audience. There is no one way to express individuality. Classic circus styles don't hide the individual any more than contemporary circus styles laud or promote it. What matters is the promise, the expectation that we set for an audience by naming a performance, and whether that expectation enforces or erodes the existing cultural hierarchies.